We have reports surfacing indicating that Mitch Marner may very well head to the Swiss League if he has no contract with the Maple Leafs by the time training camp opens. We'll review these reports and decide if this is something that can really happen coming up next. So welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. Now we do have some breaking news around the Mitch Marner situation and the fact that he still has no contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I guess we'll see what we think of this news by the end of the video. But there are reports surfacing that indicate that he could be heading over to the Swiss League with the Zurich Lions if he does not have a contract in place with the Toronto Maple Leafs by the time the Leafs training camp opens up here in a few weeks' time. Now, in case you're not familiar with the story, basically how it all got started, earlier today, Rick Dhaliwal, who mainly covers the Canucks, put out this here on Twitter. His tweet says, 24 days to training camp and still no Brock Besser deal. Some RFAs might be looking for a place to play if no deal. European source tells me Mitch Marner camp has already contacted the Zurich Lions of the Swiss League. So obviously this generated a little bit of a buzz. Lots of people were talking online, sharing their opinions. I'm sure there's probably some Leaf fans out there that probably panicked a little bit. Some people kind of take the news and, obviously don't know how to react properly at times. And then, of course, we had TSN's Darren Dreger, who's covered this closely throughout the whole process as well, chime in a little bit later. And here's what Darren Dreger had to say. So Darren Dreger adds, reports are accurate that the Marner camp has had discussions with Zurich. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go there to train in early September. Dubas and Ferris met last week, positive talks, but no progress. He then added, Marner could pay the insurance premium and go to Leafs camp. What a circus that would be. Trade interest will grow as well as the days go by. In case you don't use Twitter, you don't follow Darren Dreger, or you haven't really looked at a lot of the stuff regarding Marner, Darren Dreger has basically been accused of getting a lot of his inside information from Mitch Marner's agent, Darren Ferris, as well as Mitch Marner's dad, Paul Marner. A lot of people like to call him Paul Marner on there. He certainly takes a lot of heat for any time he talks about Marner at all, but certainly Dreger does have a lot of sources close to the situation and had to confirm that the reports are indeed accurate. Now we also get confirmation from Zurich themselves later on via Twitter as well. Their tweet indicates here that the ZSC Lions have been asked by the European agent if Mitch can participate in our practice. Whether and when the player will train with Zurich is not decided yet. So obviously we do have confirmation that the fact that the team and Marner's camp have actually had discussions is indeed true. I think we can now safely say 100% accurately that the talks at least did take place. Whether or not Marner's camp really has any real true interest in actually doing this remains to be seen. But really, if you take a look at it here, it would make sense in a way for Marner, if he does not have a contract by the time training camp starts, to be able to practice with a professional hockey team just in order to stay in shape, just to practice and stay sharp while things are trying to get ironed out. I mean, we saw last year with William Nylander when in that contract situation, he was practicing with other teams. They didn't really make such a big fuss about it, but he did indeed, train and practice with other clubs over in Europe while he was over there waiting to get a contract sorted out. This is a very common practice. Of course, NHL players want to remain in shape. Obviously, it's tough to be in game shape without being in NHL games, but they do need to keep up with their routine and with their regimen here to stay in shape, so when a contract does actually come to be, that they're ready to play and are able to jump in relatively quick here. Now, if you don't know a lot of information about NHL agents, there's a great resource online called puckpedia.com who breaks down all the different agents around the NHL and who all their clients are. I'm going to give you a list here to show who Darren Ferris represents in the NHL outside of Mitch Marner. Now, as you can see, Darren Ferris really doesn't have a huge client list, but the clients he does have, there's quite a few of them here that have proven to have some very difficult negotiations. Now, as of right now, his highest paid client is Taylor Hall of the New Jersey Devils. He also represents Zach Bogosian, Andreas Athanasiou, Sam Bennett, Matt Nieto, Josh Anderson, Philip Zadina, Victor Mete, Morgan Frost, Jack Studnicka, Toby Reeder, Mitch Marner, and Brendan Perlini. So as of right now, Marner and Perlini all without contracts, restricted free agents. Now, as far as different clients of Darren Ferris having difficult contract negotiations. This is nothing new. Sam Bennett has had some pretty contentious negotiations with the Calgary Flames. Josh Anderson has had this happen with Columbus. We've also seen it happen with Athanasiou and the Red Wings. And in all those cases, it was all mentioned as well from their camp that the player very well could go look to play in Europe or in other professional leagues. This is not a new tactic by Darren Ferris at all. We've seen it happen at least in 3 other occasions. So this really should not come as any surprise if you're familiar with the agent and a lot of the negotiation tactics that he uses. He seems to really enjoy negotiating through the media, which obviously so far has really not worked well for him in all of these cases. The team basically looks like they won the contract negotiations and end up getting a contract in place a lot closer to what they were looking for from the get-go. So I guess time will tell what happens with Mitch Marner. Will he go over to Zurich and actually play? It's highly doubtful. There's no way that they're going to come anywhere close to offering him the type of money that he's looking for from the Maple Leafs. The highest paid players in the Swiss League make near what the lowest end of the NHL players make. So there's certainly no financial gain for Mitch Marner to sign a contract and play with the Lions for the coming season. It would make sense for him to practice with a professional hockey team just to stay in shape. But really, if he's turning down offers from the Maple Leafs of, $7, $8, $9, $10, $11 million, there's what sense would it make for him to go play in another league for, say, $1 or $2 million, which is probably the most that they would offer him. Even $2 or $3 million would be an absolutely huge contract for that league. So that would absolutely make no sense. I can't see Mitch Marner doing that. Now, of course, Austin Matthews left North America, went and played for Zurich during his draft year. Certainly a bold move, a move that we haven't really seen before. Obviously, he was a player who was expected to go number 1 overall for quite some time ahead of his draft, and he elected to go play in a men's league over in Switzerland rather than compete with the U.S. national team or play junior hockey in Canada or anything that you normally see from most North American-born NHL players. Zurich Lions also put out on Twitter here, and I'll show you quickly as well, a tweet today indicating it's the anniversary of the very first practice of Austin Matthews when he went over and signed with them to play during his draft year. So obviously a great timing by the Zurich Lions to post that. Certainly not a coincidence maybe that this news broke on this kind of day. It just seems kind of really weird timing in that sense. But really, I don't see Mitch Marner playing in Zurich. I don't think if there's any Leaf fans watching this and you're kind of stressed or worried that he's going to go jump to another league while waiting for a contract, I just don't see it happening. This is a common tactic we've seen with this agent numerous times. It's never turned out to be that way. In all cases, the players ended up signing. Now, in all these cases, they ended up signing, remaining in the NHL. Some of the contracts were done really right down to the wire or a little bit late, but they did not go play in another league at all and end up leaving the NHL for any length of time, outside of practicing and staying in shape. So I really don't think there's anything to worry about. It makes zero sense for Mitch Marner to go play in another league. Why would he turn down, make a contract offer from the Leafs, all the endorsements, everything that comes with it, just to go play in Europe for a season? It's not going to happen, and anybody who thinks so is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. So I guess we will see, but could he go to Zurich for practice? It's certainly a possibility. Will remain to be seen here if he actually gets a deal worked out before training camp gets underway, and if not, are these actually empty threats, or is he going to follow through and go to Europe while he's waiting to get a deal done? Let me know what you think of this news here, and we'll continue the conversation down in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.